Good afternoon. Welcome back, everyone. This is Charlie Pankey's Sierra Right Now podcast. We hope today is a glorious day wherever you're at, and the Sierra is in your sights or in your near future. Drive safe wherever you're at today. We are super excited about today's show. We're going to be doing a little travel to the west side of the Sierra today, talking about coming into the south side of Yosemite through a great part of the country, highly underrated area in my book, near Bass Lake, Oakhurst. And today, our guest, Kate Holden, is one of the directors of Visit Madera County, on the website, it's actually Visit Yosemite this year, which is a great website name and a great motto for everybody, right? We should all get to Yosemite every year. Kate, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well. How are you doing today?
We're good. We just got done traveling to the OMA show in Denver to learn about all kinds of new gear for 2025. So it's good to be back in the office, ready to talk about the mountains. I'm ready to go play. So
Awesome.
very good. Well, Kate, hey, thanks for having us on. And wherever you're at listening today, we hope you'll just buckle into the show. We're going to talk a lot about Yosemite, the southern side of Yosemite, and coming in the area of Bass Lake and the Sierra Scenic Byway. And I reached out to you a couple weeks ago. I wanted to talk about this section. My wife and I, toured around the Southern Sierra 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. And one of the things that caught our attention, we came up out of Shaver Lake into Bass Lake under the backside and stayed the night at Bass Lake. Really enjoyed just a great sunset. Burke was at the Forks, lodge there and the campground. And then the next day we got to drive into the south side of Yosemite, Wawona, and spend the day hiking in there, which was a big highlight for me for the trip. And I just realized I don't know enough about your county and the things that are going on. So I said, I'm going to reach out and we can tell people how to get there, what's going on, and just kind of highlight the area today. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Yeah. And I'm so excited that you were able to enjoy the Bass Lake area when you were there. Bass Lake is incredible. It was voted one of the West's best lakes by Sunset Magazine.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky to have it. We call it our small Lake Tahoe just south of Yosemite. Um,
I do think it's one of the most underrated lakes that's just not talked about enough in the Sierra. As I've now traveled the entire thing, it's like such a pretty location, and so it's really pretty easy access from anywhere on the west and south. I mean, to drive wise, it's about 3.5 hours from San Jose, San Francisco area, hour and a
mhm.
half from Fresno. Matter of fact, I was just looking at it. It says it's almost easier to fly into Fresno and drive in than because like
It
for
is.
me it's a 5 hour drive, right? So
Yeah, yeah. For you, it might be a little bit easier to just fly over the mountains.
yeah,
But it's a great location. We're actually home to Madera County encompasses North Fork, California as well, which
okay.
is the geographic center of the state. So we are smack dab in the middle of California, which is a great location. And we're about 4.5, 5 hours from Los Angeles as well by
Yeah.
car. So, depending on traffic, if you're
That sounds,
if
sounds
you're
like
on
it.
the
I
highway.
did
But
not know the geographic center of the state was right there. That's fantastic.
yeah,
I know you're talking about the map, but I didn't know that was the history of that location. So
Yeah, that's in North
okay.
Fork, California, which is part of the Sierra Vista Scenic Byway,
Mhm.
and that's also on our Fossil Falls road trip that we'll get to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, well, let's start with the scenic byway because I didn't get to do that on my trip. I know it's not
Yeah,
open like right now because it's obviously winter time up there. When does that usually open in the season, as far as drive by? And maybe we can kind of highlight what that really is for listeners that aren't familiar with the area.
yeah, absolutely. So the Sierra Vista Scenic Byway is a nearly 100-mile journey through the Sierra Nevadas. And it's really amazing. You get to stop at, landmarks like Globe Rock and the Mile High Vista and Mammoth Pools and all of these incredible sites. You can make your way up to Jesse Ross Cabin, which is a historic cabin up in the mountains up there. And it's just a really beautiful area. And it's the same mountain range as Yosemite, so you'll see
Mhm.
a lot of very similar plants and rock formations and all of that great stuff. It's a really underrated area. And
I think they're.
usually,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Apologize.
oh, I was going to say the road opens whenever the snow is able to be cleared. So sometimes it's, May, sometimes it's July. It just kind of depends on the snowpack. But
Is
during the
it
summer is the
is
best
it kind of
time.
similar to Glacier Point's plow skid system? Like Glacier Point's usually that same windows. Like if they're plowing that, then that's this over here is probably being plowed too because it's kind of about that same plane, right?
Yep, yep. That's the hope. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I was about to say, I believe I've looked before. There actually are some backpacking routes off of that loop into the southern side of Yosemite for those people who really like that wilderness experience on the southern
Yeah,
hemisphere as
definitely. It's
well.
all
So,
in the Sierra National Forest, which is
mhm.
incredible. We have about 1 million acres of Sierra National Forest in our backyard in Madera County as well. So we have a lot of outdoor adventures for everybody.
That's fantastic. I know we
Yeah.
stayed at the Forks campground there, and the mountain biking trail goes up a ridge right behind the park there, which is really popular. I've read about it. I forget the name of it, but it's a big mountain
Is
biking
it
area.
Goat Mountain?
Goat
Yeah.
Mountain. That's it. That's it right
Yep.
there. And then we were right across. Obviously, there's piers there for fishing. Guys were out on their water skis at night. The sunset was just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
So it was
it's
such a
really,
pretty
really
lake.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in the summertime, it's really amazing because the water temperature is pretty warm. It's around 80 degrees. So it's great for swimming. We have 3 full service marinas that people can rent, speed boats or jet skis or pontoon boats or patio boats at. So it's a really great location for families. It's perfect, as you said, mountain biking. There's lots of great hiking trails over there as well. So it's a nice little slice of paradise
That's
just south of
awesome.
Yosemite. Yeah.
Now, if I'm honest, the stop at Bass Lake and our trip was just so I could get into Yosemite earlier the next morning because I'm a Yosemite
Hmm.
geek, right? And I'm sure a lot of your visitors probably are coming up, so they're going to go into the park through Oakhurst, and they're just looking to get in the park, right? That's kind of their entryway to the national park that everybody loves so much, and that goes right into Wawona, which is not actually in your county, right? So Wawona is like the next county up, but you guys really are the gateway to the south. If that does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. So the county lines don't really follow the roads
Right.
per se. So you have to drive through our county, Madera County, to get onto Highway 41, which is the Southern Yosemite Highway. But the county lines do shift a little bit. So technically it's in Mariposa County, but you have to go through our gateway in our town to get there.
Okay, I want to just talk about Yosemite just a little bit. Well, maybe we'll get back to it at the end because
Yeah.
there's a lot of Yosemite stuff we can talk about. But one of the big things people need to recognize is that Wawona is actually closed now because they're going through reconstruction or it was kind of it's deemed unsafe right now, so they need to renovate the hotel. So
Yes.
people who are used to staying down there, one of the things I was thinking about is that backing up to fit Bass Lake or Oakhurst are great locations to stay as you're going in the camp. And then I think is it Fish Camp that's
Fish
right there too?
Camp.
Do they
Yep.
have lodge? I don't know if they have lodging there, but those are
There's
just
some
some.
lodging in Fish Camp. Yep, we have. There's tons of options in Bass Lake and in Oakhurst, and even if you want to go a little bit further down in Coarse Gold and Awani, there's a lot of options there as well. And we have everything. You mentioned the campground earlier at Bass Lake, so we have everything from campgrounds and RV sites to we have little micro cabins up in Awani that are really amazing, and geodomes in the Sierra National Forest up at Nome
Right.
Resort. We also have flag hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, all the way up to a Relay and Chateau property. So it's a little castle in the Sierra Nevadas.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to stay outside of the park and get a little bit more of a kind of gateway town experience, that's a really great option.
Yeah, and any of my listeners, if you've been following me for a while, I love getting up early to be in the parks or be on the trailhead. So, for my story, we got up at 5 a.m. at Bass Lake. We were literally the first people in Wawona that morning, and I was on the trail before anybody else probably parked. And so we were on the
Yeah.
trail hiking the waterfall. So if you're that kind of person like I am, Oakhurst, Bass Lake, all those they're easy to get up in the morning. It's a nice drive into town. The Rangers are surprised to see you there at 5 a.m. But you can get in the park. It's pretty cool. Well, great.
Yeah.
You and I talked, and you introduced. Well, I kind of brought up, but you guys have this really cool kind of adventure contest on your website with all these little cool little animals that are all
Yeah.
representing different locations, right? And then you introduced the Fossil of the Falls Trail itinerary to me. So I thought maybe we talk about both of those for a few minutes, if you don't mind, and kind of like introduce what was this adventure contest you guys have been running for several years, I guess, and then
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
kind of go into some itinerary ideas for visitors.
Of course, of course. So that the little critters on our website, that is our welcoming committee. And so there's a welcoming committee member for each region of our county. So they're like our mascots, we say.
Okay.
And they're a wild bunch of characters, they're really fun. And they accompany the Fossils to Falls road trip in the sense that we've turned it into a contest. So the Fossils to Falls road trip is a self-guided itinerary, and to make it even more fun and more engaging for not only families but also adults out there who are
Hmm.
traveling, and couples. We created this Yosemite Adventure Contest. So each welcoming committee member has a trading card, a physical trading card that you can go pick up at each of the stops along the road trip.
That's
And if
so
you
fun.
and then you send them in, or you send a photo of the trading cards in, and you get entries in to win this Yosemite Adventure Contest, so that you can come back. You have a chance to come back the next year and have an amazing hosted stay and get some fun gift cards to fun stores in the area and do some kind of adventure, whether that's a wine tasting experience with our winemakers, or off-roading in the Sierra National Forest with Yosemite Adventure Company, or an afternoon at the lake with a vacation, or I'm sorry, a patio boat rental.
Oh, that's fun.
It's just a really fun way to kind of get involved and, kind of gamifying a road trip a little bit more, which the kids love it, but also we
Right.
have, solo travelers who come in and they are so excited to pick up their Sierra Bear card at the visitor center. And it's
You,
really
you
awesome.
you really need to hop on the website and look at these little creatures because I want the cards. They're really
Yeah,
adorable. It's like I just need that on my wall right here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And actually, new this year for 2025, if you enter all 10 cards, so if you go to all 10 stops, we will actually send you a set of, we have plush versions of our welcoming committees. So
no
little
way.
plushy animals, yeah, that we'll send you a set of, yeah, if you get all 10 cards.
Yeah, I think that's worth the trip right there. I just say I
Exactly,
have my
yeah.
first grandchild coming. Need some
Oh
plush
my
toys for
gosh. Yeah,
that.
we gotta get you a set. You gotta come visit.
Gotta come visit. Absolutely. Actually, going to
Yeah.
be coming through your area in a couple of weeks here. My wife and I are coming right through the Wawona area. We're staying inside
Nice.
the park at one of the rental areas there, but can't wait to stop in Oakhurst at the brewery and have a burger and a
Oh,
beer on the
of
way through and the
course.
whole thing. So
Yeah.
obviously great choices there. So let's talk about the Fossil Falls. Where does it start? What's it kind of encompass along the way? Let's kind of walk the people through an itinerary of what Fossil Falls, and say they're coming from the Bay Area over, for example.
All right. So this is a great itinerary. We like to say it kind of highlights the best of our county in 4 days, or however long you'd like to for it to be. But you start in the Central Valley. So we actually have the Fossil Discovery Center is the site of one of the largest Middle Pleistocene digs in our country's history,
Hmm.
and so we have thousands of fossils from Columbian mammoths and saber-toothed cats and dire wolves and all of those amazing prehistoric animals that were found right here in Madera County.
Wow.
So you start there, you get to meet Mr. Mead, who is our saber-toothed cat. That's our welcoming committee member there.
Like
And
it.
so you go from there, and then you get to go wine tasting in our wine region. We have one of the oldest grape growing regions in California. So
Hmm.
you'll meet Honey, who's our honeybee, who's our mascot up there. And then you start to head up into the Gold Country region of California and of Madera County, and into Coarse Gold, where where Nugget is, who is our tarantula, is our welcoming
Awesome.
committee member up there, and then it takes you up into Oakhurst, where we have a large artist community. So we have many different galleries that you can visit up there, and the Talking Bear, who is one of our statues in town. That's really amazing. Sierra Bear is the trading card is at the visitor center. And
Okay.
then you also go over into Bass Lake, spend the day over there with Blake, our bald eagle. And then over into North Fork, where you get to learn the Sierra Mono history at the Sierra Mono Museum and pick up your ranger card there. And then you go up to one of our most coveted attractions, which is the Yosemite Mountain Sugar Pine Railroad,
I
and
was going there next.
grab. Yeah, yeah, it's so fun. You have to go.
Yeah,
And you got to get your Ricky card there, Ricky the raccoon.
got it.
And then from there you go up into Yosemite. So you stop in Mariposa Grove of giant sequoias. You get to walk around the largest giant sequoia grove in the park, and then you end up in Yosemite Valley, where you get to see one of the tallest waterfalls in North America. So it's a really amazing journey that takes you, from the history of our county all the way up through to the amazing park that we have in our backyard.
That's fantastic. That really does
Mm-hmm.
sound like a fun trip. What was the starting city that I missed it? Where was the city
Oh,
where the
so you
fossil digs
start
at?
Yeah, so that's down in Chowchilla in the Central
Okay,
Valley.
gotcha.
So this road trip is also amazing because you get to see the different topography of Madera County. We spread from the Central Valley through the foothills of the Sierras all the way
Mhm.
up into the high Sierras. So it's a really, really beautiful journey, especially in the springtime or the summer, when everything's green. So
And so, and you guys are part of the Highway 49 kind of gold mine that
the
that kind
Golden
of
Chain
wraps
Highway, yeah.
ends kind of. Does it end right there in Oakhurst? Is that the end of it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, it
okay.
ends right in Oakhurst and it intersects with Highway 41.
Perfect. So that kind of gives some idea from the Sacramento area if you're coming down that chain of gold histories all through there as
Hmm.
well. And then I learned just recently the wine history for the Western Sierra Ridge line, if you will, are some of the oldest wineries in California. They have award-winning wine in the foothills. People don't think of Sonoma and stuff, but really there's
Yeah.
incredible wine opportunity on that ridge, right? So
I agree. It's we have really, really incredible wineries that ship. We have wineries that are um, everything is done by the winemaker, the tastings
mm,
and the tours and everything. And then we have, folks who ship internationally, like Quaddy Winery. They have really, really incredible dessert wines, and Ficklin Vineyards produces one of the oldest ports in the U.S. So yeah, we're very lucky. We have a lot of really incredible wineries in our area, and they all do wine tastings too.
that's
So
perfect. Perfect.
yeah,
Sounds like a good road trip, like a weekend trip. Like go Friday early, get to the winery, enjoy your stay, get up next day, spend
exactly.
at Bass Lake, and then head into see the giant grove there, Wawona, and then you go to the
Hmm.
valley the next day, make your way out. So
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great little snippet of kind of everything. There's something for everybody in there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned the railroad. Now, I've never ridden on the railroad. I've heard about it. I've read stories on it in the past. Tell me what the significance of that railroad. What is it about the area? How cool of a ride is? Have you been on it yourself?
Oh, I've been on it many, many times. Every opportunity I have, I go on the railroad. So the railroad, Madera, it actually means wood in Spanish.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so Madera's history is really in the logging industry. I mentioned
Oh.
we have the Sierra National Forest in our backyard.
Hmm.
So the railroad used to be used as transportation for that logging
Hmm.
industry. And we have a narrow gauge track, so it's only 3 feet wide, and part of the track is still accessible, and they've turned it into a tourist attraction, which is really amazing. So it's a just a loop track, and you
Okay.
go in the forest. You don't go into Yosemite at all, but you're just outside of the border of the park.
Okay.
um, but you get to ride down into the Lewis Creek Amphitheater area. And that's really amazing because in the summer they have performances there. They have the jazz trains. They'll bring in a world renowned jazz artist to play down in the amphitheater,
Oh,
or they
fun.
have the Moonlight Melodrama, which they work in conjunction with the Golden Chain Theater, our local community theater, and they put on a performance down there. Or, they have all of these really incredible events. And so you get to see the Lewis Creek Amphitheater, and then you ride back up and enjoy the rest of your day. And it's
Great.
about an hour long, so it's not too much of a time commitment. It's perfect for families. Dogs can come free as long as they're on leash and well behaved.
Very
And
good.
yeah, it's really, really incredible. You get a really great history of the area as well from the tour guides that are there.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
why you brought up dogs, not to jump tracks, I don't think you want to talk about it, but I was just reading about dog vacations and national parks a little bit. And one of the
Yeah.
things that I wanted to share about your area is actually if you're a dog lover and you would like to travel with your dogs, a lot of trails and stuff you can't go with dogs on Yosemite. So Yosemite's kind of a hard trip to make with a pet, right? There's not a lot to do. However, in Wawona, the big meadow actually allows dogs on that trail in the big meadow across Wawona. So it actually is a great, Bass Lake, Oakhurst. You got all the things you can do on the road, and so it's a pet friendly zone, if you will. If you really want to get outdoors and explore for a day, so like a day you could spend the morning fishing at Bass Lake, go catch a train ride, and spend an evening walk in the meadow in Wawona. And that would be a great day trip, right? Then come back out for, like I
Yeah.
said, burgers and brews.
Yeah,
Oakhurst. So
exactly. And you could bring your dog to the patios in our area as well. So Southgate
yeah,
Brewery is, you can bring them along with you.
that would be a great pet
Yeah.
itinerary. I agree. Now,
Yeah, it's really amazing.
you are from the county, so we are a recreation, outdoor geeked out show here about trails and hiking and places to ride our mountain bikes. So, from your perspective, there, I don't know if you hike or anything, but is there any hidden gems for hiking or river locations or anything like that? You just go, these are way underutilized.
Well, I would say all of the hiking trails around Bass Lake are really incredible. There's one that is, it's called the Way of the Mono Trail, and it's very short. It's not even
Mhm.
1 mile total, but you get a
Okay.
really incredible view of Bass Lake. It kind of, you kind of gain a little bit of elevation in that short amount of time, and so you get a really really beautiful view of Bass Lake. And you also get and there are interpretive signs along the way, so you get to learn about some of the native plants in the area and how the
Okay.
Sierra Mono Indians used to use them.
Mhm.
So that's a really great area. And yeah, I think, I mean, Swinging Bridge in Wawona, I think you had mentioned that one earlier, or
Mhm.
up to, oh, what is that called?
It's a. I always want to say it's chillin'. I can't say it's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chillinoola Falls. There we
Thank you
go.
very much.
Yeah, it, like as soon as I started that sentence, that slipped my
It's a
mind.
great waterfall hike. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, incredible, and not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
So that's in the Wawona area, and that's a really, really great hike to do as well. And you get to see a different part of Yosemite that folks don't usually get to. Also, I would say the upper part of Mariposa Grove is stunning. And if you go past the Grizzly Giant and
Mhm.
the California Tunnel Tree and keep going, there's a whole other section of the Grove that most people don't get to because it's a little bit of a hike.
You
But
got to
I'm
climb. Yep.
yeah, you got to climb. You know, if you want the good views, you got to climb. So
Yep. But that's a good point. So, a lot of people when we think Yosemite, I talk about this all the time. They think Yosemite Valley. That's the whole park
mhm.
to most people, right? And really, that's less than a third of the national park in whole. It's a very small percentage
It's
of the
about
park,
two
right?
percent of
Two
the whole
percent.
park.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, and that's where
Yeah.
about 95% of their people, percent of the visitors spend their time, their whole time there. So there's
Thanks.
a lot more to explore. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling you from experience, you could literally just go to the Wawona area and make a weekend out of it. There's lots to
Hmm.
do. That I'm gonna say the waterfall. I'm gonna say Chillanua Falls. It's look it up. It starts with a C. It's a really tall stair step waterfall system that has these amazing plunges. Now it's not the greatest waterfall for like getting up right next to it, except for right at the bottom where it's you literally are in your own little mist trail. If you go there early in the spring, there's water just in the trees. It's like a little rainforest. It's really beautiful. The water crash, but then it just takes this casual like 4 mile windy up the mountain to the top of the waterfall, and it is some of the most amazing views of the region, the forest, and looking back into your county actually the
Hmm.
entire time. It's a really pretty hike, and then of course the trees. That's people do know those trees, but they don't stop long enough to go. The meadow across from the lodge is great. The swinging bridge.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you want to walk around and go talk to the cowboy who runs the stagecoach because he has some great stories about the
Hmm.
stagecoach days at Yosemite. He's just fun to sit and talk to. So they really do put on a really great atmosphere around Wawona as a whole. So
Yeah, there's a lot of Yosemite's history that's kind of set in Wawona,
mhm.
and Wawona is home to the Chinese Laundry Building as well, which
Yep,
is
it
a kind
is.
of a newer area. Yeah, and that it's pays homage to the Chinese immigrants who helped to make Yosemite what it is today,
Yep.
and build all the roads and stuff. So yeah, it's a really really amazing area to check out.
That's really cool. So let's back up. We only got really 7 minutes of our show left here. It goes really fast, like I
Okay.
told you, right? Let's talk about some other gems of your county that aren't Yosemite, because maybe you're coming up for a wine weekend or lake weekend, and you just want to experience some other things. Like, tell me about this center point down south. Like you're just south of Bass Lake, you get National Forest land. Anything down there worth traveling to and seeing? I drove that road; it's very pretty. But I don't know if any
Yeah, yeah.
interest points or
So
anything.
in North Fork, there's the Sierra Mona Museum, like I mentioned earlier. They have really amazing artifacts there, and it's one of the only native owned and operated museums in California, which is really amazing. I think that's changing now, which is great.
Hmm.
But that's really amazing. We have really great coffee shop down there as well, which is great.
Okay.
And yeah, and over in O'Neill's, there's Westbrook Wine Farm, which is one of our amazing wineries that we have. So that's a great area to check out as well. That one's by appointment only.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of really really just great options outside of the park, and it kind of depends on what people are interested in. We have one of the highest artist concentration of artists per capita in our area, so we have a really thriving artist community.
Hmm.
Whether that's the live shows at the theater or the checking out the art galleries or wood carving, we have we're newly named the carved bear capital of the world. So you'll
Okay.
see a lot of carved bears, and it's because we have all the lumber in our area,
Yeah.
and
Well, you
the
guys have
history of logging.
a wood carvers event,
The
don't
wood
you?
carver rendezvous, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
When is
and
that?
that is in the springtime, and
Okay.
it's held at the Oakhurst Community Center. That's a really great event. It's kind of a mix of like a bunch of showing off pieces, and you also get to demo how to do certain things. They bring all the tools, and you get to try a bunch of different wood burning or carving, or there's a lot of different options. And new this year, actually, in our area in Oakhurst, we are hosting the Yosemite Celtic Games. I'm sorry, the Yosemite Celtic Festival and Highland Games.
Oh,
So
fun.
that's kind of paying homage to our mountain history. And we're going to have a K bear toss. Since we're the carved bear capital, we'll have a K bear
I
toss
like
instead of a
it.
caber toss. And, whiskey tastings with our local distillery, and beer and wine. And yeah, it'll be really, really great. So that'll be in November.
That's in November.
So
Okay.
there's stuff to do all year round
And
in our
I
area.
know
That's
Bass Lake does a big Fourth of July, event. Bass
Yeah,
Lake. I have
yeah.
friends actually from here that go to Bass Lake every year for Fourth of
Yes,
July week. That's kind
the
of their
Bass
thing.
Lake Chamber sponsors
Yeah.
the fireworks over there, which is really incredible. That's a great event. Coming up at Bass Lake in a few months, we have the 44th annual Bass Lake Fishing Derby as well, which is amazing. There is, over $50,000 of cash tagged fish money on the
There you
line.
go,
So,
fisherman.
yeah,
Now
yeah, exactly.
let's talk fishermen. I don't know if you noticed it right here, but it's called Bass Lake. I can't assume it's just a Bass Lake. What's it known for fishing? Is it bass, or is it rainbow trout, or in?
Yeah, it's a lot of trout and yeah, some bass. Yeah,
Okay, so a
yeah,
mixture. Like, okay,
a
I just
mixture. Yeah,
I had to ask that. I make those assumptions sometimes with names. I go, man, I shouldn't do that.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Hey, Kate, real quick here. I want to take a little quick pause and shout out to our sponsors.
Mhm.
Visit Carson Valley is our home base for all of our adventures. Is where I'm going to be leaving to come to your area here next week. And we love the Carson Valley. We want to give them a little shout out here. If you don't know where we're at, we're just below South Lake Tahoe, down in the Nevada side. But here is a real quick video highlight for our sponsors today. Whoops, went live. I hit that on you. There we go. As I'm watching that, Kate, I realize how different my home base is to your home base is at, because I didn't see any open spaces like that when I drove through here. There was trees everywhere. Your forest does kind of dominate the landscape. I didn't come in from the bottom though, so I came in from the side, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, we do have some tall trees in our area, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's if you like a forest, it's awesome. And I know you guys had some fire come up to your area with those fires a couple years ago, but I don't remember seeing any real big fire spots. Maybe up in the scenic byway, there might have been some fire damage up there. I assume from those
Yeah,
fires. Yeah,
we had the Creek Fire back in
that's what it was.
2020, which did hit the Sierra Vista Scenic Byway
Yeah.
pretty badly, but we're starting to see the regrowth up there now, which is very exciting. Yeah.
It's always fun to see the regrowth, right? All the meadows come back and all
Yeah.
the underbrush. Yeah, it's such lush and green. So, well,
Yep.
very good. I always end my show. Believe it or not, we're already done. So you and I are gonna have to get back on later in the year to talk on more things. But
That sounds great.
we always are into the show with 3 questions for our guests. They're all kind of personal recreation guests, and we didn't get into a lot of recreation today. But let's talk about adventure travel a little bit, okay? So let's assume your
Mhm.
bag behind you is packed. You're gonna go play in the Sierra someplace. You can pick Madera, okay? But someplace that's kind of like your place to go visit. Where are you going in the Sierra and why?
So my answer for this, I thought about it a lot,
Yeah,
is up on Tioga Road. Honestly, in Yosemite,
yeah.
I used to be a tour guide, and I would take groups of people into Yosemite. And one of my favorite things to do was to take my groups up to Tioga, and we would, enjoy a nice picnic lunch at Tenaya Lake and head up to Tuolumne Meadows. And then recently, I discovered the area up by Pothole Dome,
Oh yeah.
up in Tuolumne Meadows. Yeah, which
Mm-hmm.
is incredible. I had never been over to that area before. If you kind of go around Pothole Dome and
Yep.
follow the stream, it's really beautiful back there.
Beautiful.
So that's where I
And
would
no
go, is
one's
up on
there.
Tioga.
That's what's
And no
awesome.
one's
No one's there.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no, that really is it, and that's my love language too. That area is absolutely beautiful. So good choice
Yeah.
on that. So all
Thank
right.
you.
So after I'm done with my adventures in the woods and on trails, I'm always looking for that trail food, something to eat afterwards. I'm a big cheeseburger milkshake guy. What is your
Mhm.
go-to meal after a big adventure or traveling through the Sierra?
Yeah, so my favorite refuel is Southgate Brewing Company, their peaches and cream burger, which is
Ooh.
incredible. Followed by one of their honey badger ales, of course.
Of course, yes.
But yeah,
Peaches and cream. I'm gonna have to write that one down. That might be
yeah,
have to be tried out.
it's like it's like goat cheese and some bacon and shallots and a little bit of peach and then some arugula. It's really great. Yeah,
That sounds tasty. Very good.
yeah.
I like it. And finally, we're all gearheads in some way. We always have some kind of piece of gear, whether it be a hat or a knife or a piece of a gadget gear that we take out on our adventures. Do you have a piece of gear that's always with you on your adventures?
I have two
Okay,
because I couldn't
good.
decide. They're both
I like it.
equally important to me. My Camelback water bladder is something I always have with me. I am the kind of person that if I have to open my water bottle on the trail, I'll just forget about it for miles and miles, and then I'll
Ah,
realize I'm dehydrated. So I like having it accessible. And then also my Leatherman wingman, which I have right here next
there
to me
you
right
go.
now.
Leatherman, I like it.
It's yeah, my
You keep
dad got
that
it
in
for
your
me.
pack or on a belt?
I keep it on a belt when I'm
Okay.
hiking, yeah,
Yep.
or in like my waistband for my if I'm backpacking, I have a
Yep.
little pocket on my waistband. But my dad got that for me many, many years ago, and I take it everywhere when I'm on the
It's funny.
trail.
I have the old Swiss Army knife. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
is my Letterman. I that old red, all the little
Yep.
gadgets in it. Yeah, it's a.
A classic. Yeah.
I got it, and it's kind of funny you mentioned water bladder. I just had the most fascinating conversation with a group of people at the OMA about the distinct group of people who are water bladder hikers and the
Hmm.
people who are water filter bottle guys.
Yeah.
They only have the
Yeah.
bottle on the shoulder and that's all they do. And it seems to be the closer you are to a trail runner, you are a
Hmm.
bottle person, and the closer you are to a trail hiker, you're a bladder person. That was kind of how we kind of started dealing. It's like there's a difference. If you like running and getting on trails, you want your water right here for some reason.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you if
That
you
makes
don't
sense.
mind, if you like to hike and you kind of get distracted, you like that little straw, you can just grab something real quick. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I'm definitely the latter. I'm more of a hiker than a runner. Yeah.
that sounds like
That makes sense.
the question of a day for our listeners. If you made this far in the show, tell us down below. Are you a water bladder or a water filter and bottle person like on the shoulder here? Give us your best tip. We'd like to hear your suggestions on that too. So, Kate, thank you so much for giving me 30 minutes of your time today and talking to Sierra Nevada. We're all about discovering more. I do think your county has all these gems. It's a great place to visit. My wife and I will be back down there in about 2 weeks. We can't wait to stop in several of those locations. I'm going to be looking for those little cards and little creatures on the trail.
Yeah. Our welcoming committee. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I probably can't get them all done on the weekend I have planned, but I do look forward to stopping by again. We'll talk again on this. Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Well, enjoy and thank you for having me. It was great.
Absolutely. And wherever you're at today, if you've listened this far, thank you so much for being part of us. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. We'd love your support on that. But more than anything, just leave us comments. Let us know what you think. If you've been to Madera, we'd love to hear your stories on it as well. Our whole theme this year is tell your story of the Sierra. You all have a unique story. We'd love to hear it. So share it down below and reach out. But wherever you're at, drive safe today. Hope the Sierra's in your future, and we'll talk to you again next week.